Stella stopped moving in utero for about 2 weeks prior to her delivery. I was in and out of the hospital checking her heart rate and stress levels and things like that. And I went in for an ultrasound and she was non-responsive. So she was brought over immediately and delivered probably an hour later. She spent about 8 weeks in the NICU. And at that time, they had told us that there was some potential for her to have some sort of cerebral palsy. Cerebral palsy has so many different layers to it. I didn't know what that would really look like for her. Whether she was going to be nonverbal or be able to walk or have any independence. I wasn't sure if school was going to be an option. I didn't know if she'd be in a wheelchair. I definitely was scared. There's not 1 inch of me that wasn't. And there was not 1 inch of me that didn't cry a lot. I would say the first month of leaving the NICU was probably the worst time of my life. She was unable to coordinate with eating, so she destatted a lot. So we had a lot of 911 calls, to them come out to resuscitate her. A lot of sleepless nights. She also had reflux, so anything you did feed her, she would be throwing up pretty much immediately. So I slept sitting up with her on me for probably the first 4 months of her life until we could get that under control. So it was, just a lot of kind of trial and error that you really just aren't ready for. When Stella first went to preschool, it was definitely hard to trust that they were going to take care of her the way I do. It was a conflicting emotion, but at the end of the day, I felt really happy for her that she was part of it, even though my own personal struggles were there. My parents would come up and visit and watched me kind of struggling with getting her down to the beach. My dad is a retired engineer, and he came up with this concept of a pediatric beach buggy. He took the measurements from her wheelchair at the time and made a first one that would fit her. It literally changed our whole life. Like, going down to the beach was so much easier. I could just put her in the chair and we could go over all types of terrain. Even just going on field trips for her. We went apple picking on a field trip and we were able to bring the buggy. And then we realized that after we had her buggy that we were able to take her out for just walks along the street, which was just awesome. At that point, I just realized that I couldn't be the only one to have one of these. It was just one of those moments that I said, this totally changed us being able to access just everyday things that people kind of take for granted. I just felt like we had to pay it forward. I said to my dad, what do you think about starting a nonprofit and donating buggies to families that need them? That started stepping stones for Stella. To have over 400 families have one, and just the stories that they send me, my child's never been to the beach, this is their first time. Just to know that we're doing that for them and changing their lives like my dad changed ours is just, I don't know, it's just amazing, actually. Seeing how far we've come, I couldn't be more proud of Stella. It was a lot of work. I wouldn't change a thing. I think that the hours we spent in therapy and doctor's appointments fighting to get her what she deserved and needed has given her what she is today. It's not an easy road at first. It does get easier and it gets less scary.